You are looking live here in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah, here at DNA HQ. My name is Darren. That is AJ. We are from the thing you are currently watching. This is an episode of the DNA Sports Recap. How's it going, AJ?
I'm doing great, buddy. I'm doing really good. How are you? I
am living the dream, man. It's been an awesome week. Happy to be here. Happy to be, doing the show as always, man.
Absolutely. This is what dreams are made of right here, Darren.
Yeah, it's great.
I like that shirt, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a you can't see it on thing here. I'll sweep that out of the way. But this is a 2024 Dodgers championship polo right here.
It's a very good looking shirt.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a Dodgers fan, but that's a good looking shirt.
Yeah. Well, anytime you can, I appreciate it, man. Anytime you get to rock, World Series gear from your favorite team is something you want to get into, right?
Yeah. Maybe I should go back to 2021, get me a Braves 21 championship shirt and wear it.
Yeah. I don't know if you can count that though. You weren't actually cheering for the team at the time.
It doesn't matter. I'm a Braves fan now and I can do what I want. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'll wear a 1996 Braves championship shirt. I was a fan then.
There you go. That counts.
That one counts.
That one counts.
Yeah, that one works.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have a Dodgers World Series jacket, I believe, from when 1981. So I technically wasn't born yet, but I was.
It's the effort that counts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it all depends.
You were born a Dodgers fan, Darren. You can do what you want.
I literally was. Literally was something that my grandma really enforced on us. It was first sentence was "Go Dodgers." It's just something she was big on.
Yeah, my kids all know "Go Utes."
That's right. They got to.
And if they don't, then they're going to have to find a new place to live.
Did you see I switched the hats back for you?
Thank you.
So you got the Utes right there.
Go Utes. Bam, bam, bam.
There it is. We're going to talk a little bit about the Utes today. We're also going to talk about your Utah Hockey Club, dive into some Utah Jazz, and talk a little bit more about Major League Baseball, some local stuff, which is interesting, and some more national stuff that we'll get into. But yeah, it's going to be fun, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited.
All right. So before we get into the podcast, let's go ahead and cheers to you.
Bam. Cheers to you guys.
You almost skipped your part there.
I was trying to build the moment.
Build tension.
Yeah. They were like, oh, is he going to forget? No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's what I do.
All right. So we actually didn't do the pre's for that, did we?
No, we didn't. Let's just roll into it. We got
Let's roll into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start with Utah.
Okay.
With the universe.
I was going to say something funny there. I'm just going to let it go. I still got to do the intro. Remember?
Yeah.
You just run right into it. I was going to say something. And you're like, I'll do the Utes. No kidding. Anyway. Hello, Internet. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
With the University of Utah is Devin Dampier, a top 10 quarterback.
For your Utah Hockey Club, an interesting offseason is in front of us. Let's talk about it.
And is Cooper Flagg a piece the Jazz can build around or need to move pieces to make?
In Major League Baseball, the powerhouse that is the NL West. Let's break it down. All that and more. My name is Darren. That is AJ. And this is an episode of the DNA Sports Recap.
Roll the intro.
AJ,
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm so ready. I'm excited to talk Utah football.
Yeah, let's do that, man. We're going to jump into that first and foremost. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Utah football. Now, the Spring Forever 22 game is coming up this weekend at the time of recording.
Yep.
This Saturday, I believe it's kickoffs at what, noon?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Okay.
Yep.
They had that breakfast thing going on between 10:30 and 1.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
That should be interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, we want to talk about a little bit about University of Utah football. We talked a little bit last week about who we see as the standouts and stuff like that. But we wanted to dive a little bit more deeper into that. There was an article on athlonsports.com. Yep. That states that Utah's incoming quarterback transfer, Devin Dampier, is going to be a top 10 quarterback in the country this year.
Yeah. Yeah, he's listed as a top 10 returning quarterback. So, of all quarterbacks that started at least one game in 2024, he's listed as one of the top 10 that's returning. Now, this is very interesting. I don't know if you actually clicked in. Did you see the AB or the CBS article that
Yes.
linked this. Okay.
Yes.
So do you want to break down the first couple and then I'll get into some too?
Oh, I didn't care about anybody else on the
Okay.
list.
I thought it was really interesting though, because some of the other quarterbacks on this list, just to name a few, right? Cade Klubnik from Clemson,
Right.
Drew Allar from Penn State. Now these are both teams that made the college football playoff last year. Arch Manning from Texas. Now Arch Manning has started a couple collegiate games, but to say that, I mean, it's more like his name brings so much pedigree to what he's done. He hasn't done a whole lot. And then Carson Beck in Miami. All of these guys are, I just think it's really kind of interesting because this kind of tells you how uncertain some of these starting quarterbacks are, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think the part you touched on that was the most important was returning.
Yeah.
Because I'll get into it here in a little bit, but yeah, it's interesting that this guy, not only did he put him in the top 10, but he put him ninth. So he's, ninth out of the list of top 10. And this was Tom Forelli of CBS Sports that did this article. We'll link to the article in the description below if we could be bothered to remember to do it. But this is the statement there. Odds are strong that you didn't watch Devin Dampier much at New Mexico last season. And that's your loss. If dictionaries still existed, which I love that line, they would put fun college quarterback in them. Devin Dampier's face would be there, chucking bombs, scrambling, doing crazy stuff, and taking years off the coach's life. Dampier did it all, and he had to do it. He had to, too. New Mexico's defense was awful. Now he's at Utah, where he'll be working with the same offensive coordinator he played for at New Mexico and Jason Beck, and I can't wait to see him get to work in the Big 12. And I think the two things that he brings up in that statement is very, very true. New Mexico's defense was terrible. The Lobos did not have a good defensive backing for that offense. And like you did mention before, they were 23rd ranked in the country in offense last year. So
they were fourth.
They were ranked 23rd in total offense. According to ESPN.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the stat here.
Yeah, NCAA has their offense ranked fourth. NCAA.com. Their total offensive production.
Okay, I went by
Mexico.
Yeah, I went with the offensive rating by ESPN.
Okay,
but I agree with you. You're probably right. There's like 16 different ways you can rate offense.
It really is. It's crazy.
Total points, total yards, total they're all over the map. But anyway, so I'm there with you, Ben. But I don't know, man. What do you think about this? What do you think about the fact that Devin Dampier's made this impression already?
I think it's fantastic to hear that. Well, this is a double-edged sword, right? Because it's great to have a quarterback that is highly touted and in a high regard, and he's starting to get some preseason praise. But on the same end, we had that same thing last season. Cam Rising was bringing this Utah team home, and a preseason Big 12 championship, and so all of these things feel eerily similar, and it's kind of a cause for concern.
That is right? That is not the take I thought you'd have on this.
Yeah, I love it because. Yeah, I mean, I do think Devin Dampier is going to be a fantastic addition for Utah. This dude is electric, and he's elusive, and he's a really fun player to watch. But I think the story that's actually told here in the top 9 is really how unpredictable and wide open the quarterback rankings are in college football, right? There's no guys that are just, it's absolutely really early, right? But I mean, we're talking guys that haven't actually done a whole lot that are on this top 10 ranking. I mean, we're all the way down to Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. They had a not so great season last year, and even when he came in, he pulled them out a little bit. And the dude's got a great arm. He's a great decision maker, but that LSU team really struggled. I mean, Sawyer Robertson from Baylor is on this list at number 6, and we watched a couple games with Sawyer Robertson at quarterback, and he progressed really well throughout last year, but I think it just says how kind of unpredictable some of the quarterback situation is. So for Devin Dampier to get here, it's great. And I love it because obviously I want the Utes to have a great quarterback, but I think it does kind of tell the story that, experience and team situation, all of these things are kind of weighted into some of these preseason evaluations. And it's really anyone's game. You know what I mean? Like you can't really tell what it's going to be until you jump on the field.
Yeah.
So
Tom also stated in the article, the first thing he mentioned in the article was a disclaimer that this is not a most scientific approach, and he's using the 2025 Heisman Trophy odds as a
absolutely
variable in this.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like you're saying there, I'm feeling it, man. From the last 2 years, you know, it's a little bit too much where we're always just super hyped about the incoming quarterback. You know, and the worst part is the last 2 years, we actually had a proven one who's won a Pac-12 title, you know, 2 of them. Yes, exactly. One of them, he didn't finish, but that's okay. He got us there, right?
He still got us there. Absolutely. And that first one, he got us all the way there and then got hurt.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's basically my point there, man. I'm going to need to see it before I buy in, you know, stealing, you know, one of your favorite sayings is that this duo of Jason Beck and Devin Dampier hasn't played anybody yet.
Yeah.
You know, they were ranked 23rd on offense, according to ESPN. New Mexico played in the Mountain West Conference. They didn't really play, you know, a lot of, you know, who did they play last year that was really relevant? You know, they were even 5th in their own conference last year. You know, again, going back to the fact that they had lousy defense probably says that. I do expect them, with the Utah, having him in the Utah offense is going to be better than we've had in the last 2 years. I think simply having an average quarterback under center for Utah will give them a chance to have a 10-win season last year if they had even an average quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm very excited for this though, but I do need to pump the brakes, just like you mentioned there, a little bit on this because, you know, we've heard this song and dance before. I'm spot on with you on this one. So excited, looking forward to it, but you know, we need to see them in a, you know, Power 5 conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's really going to be something to get excited about.
So with that being said, I guess I was kind of a little bit surprised by a couple of names that were left off of this list. Number one is Sam Levitt from ASU, who had a fantastic season with ASU last year, led them one game from playing for a national championship. Didn't make the top 10 after he led him through the Big 12 conference, won it.
Was he what led that offense though?
I mean, dude, I guess you could say
the running backs.
You could say the running back. Yeah, what is the running back's name? I can picture his face. Anyways, Sam Levitt was vital to this team being successful, right? He was on the field.
Yeah,
he was healthy most of the season.
Yeah.
And the next one is, what about Jake Retzloff, who led BYU to a 10-2 season?
That's a very good
narrowly missed the college football playoff. Stomps Colorado in their bowl game.
Wait a minute. How many Big 12 quarterbacks made the list?
Devin Dampier, Sawyer Robertson. That's it.
You can't count Devin Dampier. Like, don't count him.
So I mean, it's only Sawyer Robertson then.
Yeah. Okay, so just a little bit of hate towards the Big 12 is what I'm saying here.
Absolutely. I mean, you got ACC, Big 10, SEC, ACC, SEC, Big 12, Big 10, SEC.
Yeah, so I'm because he's coming into it, so we can't count him, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's a whole lot of not a love for the Big 12 there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's probably why BYU got left out. I'm gonna have to say that there's Big 12 bias.
I guess that was kind of like, obviously I'm not a BYU fan, but like the dude balled out last season. How do you leave him off the top 10? I mean, he accomplished more last year than Devin Dampier did.
Yeah, they're one win away from the Big 12 championship game. So
they were right there. And then, I mean, I don't know. So I think Retzloff he's on some other lists, right? He's on some other top 10, top 15 ranked quarterback lists. But I was kind of curious to see, and this guy was very clear in his, his like explanation of his rankings that it's, it was just kind of a fun, flawed exercise. Like, this is just me kind of saying what I think. And, but I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I'm excited. You know what I mean? Like, no doubt about it. I'm excited to see him. I'm going to be at the red and white game this week, and it should be a fun game to check out, and hopefully get to see these guys on the field.
Yeah. Just a few more things on this. ESPN Plus had an article on it. They had their top 25. Thank you, Reddit, for sharing it, because ESPN put their stuff behind a paywall, which makes no sense to me. If you're still going to run ads on your platform, why you put things behind a paywall? But that's a discussion for another time. But he did not make their top 15. And on3.com doesn't even have him in their top 25. So, very much take this as Tom's opinion and his rankings. And I agree with you, man. I'm excited to see it. but I'm taking it for what it's worth. It's a preseason stuff that isn't based off of anything but what he expects to have happen this year.
Yeah.
So it was fun though. It was fun to read for sure.
Absolutely. And it's also fun to have something else to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Next to that, we're going to go ahead and pivot on over. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. As a reminder, folks, we did just launch a channel specifically for your Utah football team, which is called Utah Football DNA. It's a channel dedicated to Utah football. All of our content will be posted here first. So if you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap, a link to that channel will be in the description below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and don't miss out. We're going to put together a giveaway for this channel once it hits 1,000 subscribers. So be on the lookout for that. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on whatever that giveaway is once we decide to do it. Maybe some tickets or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Something like that. That'd be fun. All right, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about your Utah Hockey Club, huh?
Let's do it.
All right. Once I'm ready there, please. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in and talk a little bit about the Utah Hockey Club. First of all, folks, as a reminder, we did just launch a channel for your Utah Hockey Club called Utah Hockey DNA. Wrong button. This channel specifically for your Utah Hockey Club. All of our Utah Hockey content will be posted here first. So if you have not yet, check out the description down below. If you're watching this for our hockey content, a link to this channel will be in the description below. If you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap. With that said, man, now the season's basically over for, well, it is over for your Utah Hockey Club.
Yep.
Now, while we do see that this is a good season for this team, right? We did have, we ended up with, over 15 points more than they had last year.
Yeah, they had a great season.
Yeah. Armstrong's continuing to build this team each and every year since they've been underneath his tutelage. And now with not having the handicap of not having the money to basically buy the players he wants and do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
They definitely excelled. We did fall short of our ultimate goal, which is getting them into the playoffs, but that's perfectly fine for me. I think that, like we covered last week, if you were watching our show last week, they definitely, the rebuild is on track, basically.
Absolutely.
So now the question is, well, now what, right?
Yep.
So now we probably hear, what we're thinking about when it comes to this is how this season, what's going to happen now with this season. There are probably, a few things here that we want to get into. Some will probably hear something about the Stanley Cup playoffs and stuff like that. We'll get into some of that stuff as well as we go forward here. But this team will likely have some stuff that we need to talk about over the next 3 or 4 months before we get into free agency, stuff like that.
Yep, absolutely.
So the first thing that I want to talk about is the most likely thing we're going to hear, which is going to probably happen sometime after the Stanley Cup playoffs, which is the team will be announcing their name probably.
Yeah.
That's probably been the biggest question mark on this team outside of anything.
Which is really funny that's like where we're at, right? Like we're like, oh, we really need to find a name for this team.
Yeah, we fell, if it wasn't for the St. Louis Blues just going on a 12, 13 game winning streak, whatever they ended up doing, we'd be right in the hunt within the, the Calgary Canucks and who else was the other team? We were chasing them all year. I can't remember what their names are now, but we finished just behind. We would have just been just behind those guys, you know, in chasing for the final wild card spot. But the Blues just simply would not lose, and they seemed like a team on destiny. So it was really interesting.
They made a huge push at the tail end of the season. They won like 6 in a row, and then lost one and are tied one. Like they just kept getting points. It made it really difficult. But I mean, to your point, naming the team is huge, right? Like we know that it's down to Mammoth, Outlaws, Utah Hockey Club as kind of the 3 finalists. They did just file the trademark extension for Mammoth. So, all the rumors swirling around about this is what we're going to be. We're going to be the Mammoth moving forward. It's still cool. There was an article on Deseret News that said that the poll found that Utahns favor the name Outlaws over Mammoth.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was the poll on Deseret News. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see where that's going to come, kind of where that's going to land. And that will be exciting once we get to that point to find out what the team is going to be named. And then we can look forward to, all of the new gear to come out and all the new naming and branding and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a fun time to just be waiting around. Like, it is something that's one more thing that's going to change with the team that you don't have to wait for with other professional teams.
Yeah. One of the things I like about this is, before I get in that, what do you think about that? Outlaws. If it's Utah picking and it's the poll by Deseret News says it's Outlaws is the favorite.
First of all, it needs to be singular.
Yeah.
It needs to be Outlaw.
It's not what they trademarked though.
I know, Outlaws, which is crazy. I don't like it. I have a lot of friends that like the Outlaw name, the Outlaws name, right? That I kind of see it. I think you could come up with some really catchy kind of stuff for it. It's Wild Wild West, but I feel like Mammoth might be a little better fit. Just it's at least generally a winter animal. I don't know.
Was here during the last ice age, so that makes
I mean, I guess I'm just kind of to the point where it's like I'm just ready to know the name. You know what I mean? So we can change our stupid channel.
I don't know. Should we change the channel or should we just leave it Utah Hockey DNA?
That's a great point. It might just be Utah Hockey. I mean,
we might just leave it.
Yeah, I mean, it's Utah football.
We might just throw a different logo.
Utah Hockey.
We'll just throw a different looking Mammoth or Outlaw.
Yeah, we might change switch the Outlaw or the actual logo in.
I don't know, man. For me, it's definitely going to be a situation where I'm right there with you. I would prefer if it meant we didn't have to have that stupid faux hawk Yeti as the mascot, I would prefer Utah Hockey Club. I just like it we could call it the HC, the Utah HC. We could be different. We could be unique. I know I'm going to hear from Greg. This isn't, the Premier League, but it's, one of the things I just at this point, I'm very similar to you on that. I want the name. I want it to be done so we can kind of move on. And speaking of moving on, we spent already more time on this than I wanted to. So let's go ahead and pivot on over. So next we're going to talk about when it comes to the offseason is going to be free agency, man. This team at the time of recording is currently sitting on $21.5 million in cap space with 20 players signed for next year. Free agency is going to be interesting. This team already has been connected to Mitch Marner, who's a 27-year-old forward, according to David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period. If not him, forwards like Nikolaj Ehlers from Winnipeg or Brock Brozier from the Canucks. These are all players that have been linked to Utah Hockey Club already coming in, pending free agency. Yeah. What are you seeing when it comes to this?
I think it'll be really interesting to see which direction they go and where the team thinks that we need talent, right? Because realistically, offensively, this team for most of the season didn't have any issues scoring goals.
No.
And I mean, we reloaded on the back line, on the defensive line, like throughout the season. We did a good job. We got guys back from injuries. Obviously adding Mikhail Sergachev was a huge pickup. He helped us on the defensive line quite a bit. So I'm curious to see what this team thinks we need moving forward. Is it offense or defense? Do we need to pick up another goalie? We don't know how long Connor Ingram's going to be out for. So I think the most interesting part to me is really what does Bill Armstrong come up with as far as what we need in this offseason. And once we, and we'll see that kind of by the trends of who we hear is linked to the team and that kind of stuff. But we're going to need they're going to fill some specific needs, but what are those needs actually going to be when it comes into it?
Yeah. The three that were linked so far were all forwards. So I think it's more offense,
which is crazy because we have Logan Cooley and Dylan Gunther and like these really talented offensive guys that did a really good job this year.
Yeah. Dylan Gunther was a steal, by the way. Led the team in goal scores, man.
Yeah.
Jeez. And, Clayton Keller scored 30 goals.
Yeah.
Great year. Team captain for the first time. I don't know, man. Like I'm surprised that it's maybe just whoever this is from the fourth inning doesn't really watch a whole lot of Utah hockey and doesn't really understand where it's coming from. But yeah, man, I'm a little surprised on that too. One thing I can say for certain is, they have cap space. They can bring in a couple good vets. That could really help out on either side of the puck, whether it be across the blue line or not. I really think this team is in a good position when it comes to that. And I think that's where we need to pivot into talking about the draft.
Yeah.
So the fact that Armstrong didn't trade any expiring vet contracts and actually signed 4 of them to extensions tell us loud and clear that they are looking, at, what they're looking at as far as, timetable wise, which, by the way, as a Utah fan is very refreshing to hear. Like how many times
actually in on winning?
How many times we've talked on this channel where we can't figure out what the Jazz are doing by the same organization or ownership organization that we have no idea what they're doing. But that move right there set a clear signal that Armstrong and SCG are going into competing going forward. Like the time is now to push the chips in the middle, to take this young talent, continue to develop them, but support them with some vets that can really help, really push this team in contention for a playoff. But well, basically what it's telling us is we're no longer trying to stack draft picks and young talent.
Yeah.
We've got Tidge down in the minors there. We've got plenty of young talent down there. And right now, I predict that there's going to be a lot of movement, especially around that 15 overall pick that the Utah Hockey Club has, as well as some of our future picks as well. This team is going to start trying to compete, and it's going to start in October.
Absolutely. And I totally agree, because the best part about this team is we really do have a really promising pipeline of prospects that we still have down in the minors, and developing them has really been a key focus for Utah hockey, right? They're putting guys in opportunities to be successful. They're bringing them up in any opportunity, and it's been great to see this team continue to develop young talent, and it puts them in a unique position because they may or may not need that 15th pick. And if they can put that up and get some pieces to help make this team win now, I think that'll be something that Bill Armstrong will definitely go after and say, like you said, all chips in the middle.
Yeah. Do you see them holding on to that 15th pick this summer? I don't think so.
I don't know why you would. I especially if you can trade that and get some pieces that you get, a piece that you want, a piece that makes this team better now. I think they'd be crazy to keep it.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below when it comes to your Utah Hockey Club. Do you think, as far as anything we talked about, are you kind of comment on the name? Do you think the Utah Hockey Club is what they're going to be? Are they going to be the Mammoth or the Outlaws? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Also, what you think about upcoming, free agency. Are you excited for this Utah hockey team? What do you expect for them to do? And what do you expect for them to do in the draft as well? We want to hear from you.
Yeah, we got a comment from Joshua Brandt.
Oh, we got a comment. Let's jump into that.
I know a team called the Outlaws. Not great.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's the kind of the problem I have with the Utah Hockey Club using that name, is that it's overdone, man. There are so many minor league teams out there that use the term outlaw. It's just a been there, done that thing.
It's everywhere, dude.
Yeah, I know it's not a hockey
and it's not even there's no professional teams named Outlaws. So I guess that works, but like you said, it's just a really overdone name. So great comment, Josh.
Yeah, and what's outlaw about Utah?
We're really Wild West. It's not like there's any cool Wild West stories that happened in Utah.
There are a few, but but we won't get into that. That's
that's a different episode.
That is History DNA. We'll link to that channel down below.
Utah History DNA.
Exactly. Once again, folks, if you are watching this for Utah hockey content, you're on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap. We do have a channel specifically for your Utah Hockey Club. A link to that channel will be in the description below. Be sure to subscribe to that channel, hit that notification bell. Once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers, we'll be giving away a Utah Hockey Club jersey. If it hits 1,000 after we have the name, it will be the new team's name. So
yes,
if you want one of those rare ones, we got to make it happen. Throw it up.
Smash that subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate all the engagement, you guys.
Absolutely. It's been fun. All right, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about the Utah Jazz.
Let's do it.
All right, so when it comes to the discussion about your Utah Jazz, what we want to do is talk about, well, first of all,
did you like how I went purple on this one?
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. It's awesome.
I've been going yellow, and I wanted to switch it up a little bit. So,
okay. For those of you listening on the podcast, not seeing it, we have a color change background, mainly just because it helps with editing, and we know which segment goes where. But it's a nice little change for the set for you guys who are watching us on YouTube. So, again, if you are watching this live on YouTube, we'd love to hear from you. Jump in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Tell us your favorite color. AJ loves to know that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
we want to hear from you. So let's go ahead and talk about the Utah Jazz. Now, this is first thing we want to get into really is kind of how important this upcoming draft lottery is going to be. On last show, we discussed worst case scenarios for the Utah Jazz.
Ouch.
One of the possibilities that you brought up for the Jazz in the draft was the fact that there was a chance they could get the number 5 overall pick. What we failed to mention, which was also brought up in the comments on that video, by the way, appreciate it. Thanks for throwing that in there. We actually have a 47.9% chance of getting the 5th pick.
Well, I think all the teams technically have that chance.
If you look at tankathon.com and it has breakdowns, we have 14, 13, 12, and then 10, and then
right. It's always the highest chance to get that pick.
Yeah, whoever is the best chances has also the best chances. It's like it was created specifically to kind of get rid of somebody trying to be the bottom team.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, which is kind of, it makes sense to me when my team's not trying to lose, but now that they're trying to lose, I don't agree with it,
Yeah. It's like I want to be guaranteed the number one pick, because if you just watched a 16-win season, you'd feel the exact same way.
Exactly. But keep in mind that does mean we have a 51% chance of getting a top 4 pick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I wanted to talk about the importance of this. And this is the first time, man. This has never happened for the Utah Jazz in draft lottery history that we're in a position to have, we've got Enes Kanter, the number 3 overall pick.
Enes Kanter.
Yeah, which was worse. And then, yes, we've had other top 5 picks. We got Darren Williams in a trade, for a pick and stuff like that. But this is easily the most important one that we've ever had as a franchise coming into this draft lottery.
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. And obviously the Jazz embraced the rebuild this year, right? But the problem is we're still kind of looking for that long-term direction for this team. And that's been really frustrating, especially knowing like Cooper Flag is like all but in our grasp as far as like we did everything we could do, right? We were the worst team in the league. We showed it. And now it's like we want to be there and we want Cooper to be there. And let's make this happen so that we can kind of get this team moving in the correct direction, which is winning basketball games.
Yeah.
But I had a thought in our last segment as we were talking about Utah Hockey Club.
Way to keep both fingers down this time, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Utah Jazz and the Utah Hockey Club share an arena.
Yes.
Okay. And the Jazz have to lose, because if their season was continuing through the playoffs, how are they going to start the rebuild in that season?
Stadium? Yeah.
It's going to take two off seasons for them to finish it.
Makes sense.
Is that a preliminary precursor to them tanking next year to make sure that they do not make the playoffs?
No, I don't think they would risk tanking. I don't think they would risk blowing a chance to earn playoff money just because they wanted to do an additional development on the building. There's a lot of money that comes with home playoff games. I don't think they're going to put it. It's something we talked about off air a lot, where we talked about the Dodgers and how they completely redid their entire clubhouses. They literally dug up the field from, all the way up to the, first baseline on both sides, went down 3 stories and completely rebuilt that, all from the last game of the World Series that was in LA to opening day in spring training.
And it was all the way done.
And it was completely done.
Yeah, it was insane.
At least on the field anyway. I see something similar, and this is Utah, man. We can get construction projects done pretty quickly around here if everybody's motivated.
And I guess worst case scenario, you're only delaying 5-6 weeks realistically. Yeah. I mean, unless you made a deep push into the playoffs where you're into June.
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be an issue for this team. I think if the hockey club is in a position where they can make the playoffs, you're going to be okay with obstructed views one more year, or vice versa with the Jazz.
50% obstructed, because half of them should be done after this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, because right now they'll be able to add another 4,000
I love the conspiracy theory though around that, because there's a lot of reasons why the Jazz wouldn't want to win next year, because of AJ DeBanza coming in and other, extremely highly recruited.
I just thought about it in that last segment. I was just like, pump the brakes. I need to bring this up.
So you want to hear something interesting?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I was taking notes, I went to Takeathon.com and I ran 5 simulations on the draft lottery. So in the first one I ran, Utah got the number 1 overall pick. The 76ers got the 2nd. The Spurs got the 3rd, which is totally unfair, jumping up 5 spots to get the number 3rd spot. Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh, dude. I will lose my mind.
Victor Wembanyama, Cooper Flag on the same dang team, man. That would just be so unfair. If there's a conspiracy around the NBA helping a small market team, it's got to be the Spurs. Like, their draft lottery.
It sure as shit ain't the Jazz.
Close. Yeah, it's just insane. Charlotte got 4th, by the way. I ran this 5 times total. 2 times the Jazz got the number 1 overall spot. Twice they got the 2nd spot once, but the other 2 times they finished 5th. So that was just
so I mean, technically running that 100 times, only 14 times would they come up with the number 1 pick.
Yes. So that's kind of where I'm just saying on how I'd rate the importance of this draft, man. This, yes, if we don't get the number 1 overall pick and we end up with 1 through 4, it's going to be okay. But in all reality, it's like you mentioned, we as a franchise suffered a lot through this season as a fan base.
Yeah.
To not come out with the number one pick would just be another
Dude, it would be so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually nervous for May 12th in the draft lottery, because it's like, if we don't get this, like this of any franchise, I don't know. We could probably do a quick Google search, but I'm curious how many other NBA teams have never had a number one overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of speaks to the Miller ownership group and how much they just didn't want to lose. And
Yeah,
it was just push for winners.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never in that position.
Absolutely, but we've had bad seasons though, and we've had times where we were right up there with could have. You know what I mean? Like we've never moved
top
up.
5 pick. Yeah,
you know?
We've never gone up in odds. We've only dropped, and we've only held fast a couple times. But yeah, I don't know, man. It wouldn't. I'm pretty sure there are other teams. We know that the Utah Hockey Club is in the same situation when it comes to draft luck. They've never actually traded. They never got the odds go up in the draft either. So
yeah,
that's kind of serendipitous it's here. But yeah, man, I agree with you a little bit. Not a little bit, a whole lot of it. This is definitely an important time, and I think it's definitely got to be number one. If it's not number one, I'll be a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. The other 3 players in the top 4 are going to be great. Great additions to the team. Probably are going to be all-stars at some point in the NBA.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But as Jazz fans, we don't want to go through this one more year.
No, I mean the importance of this draft particularly feels like this huge weight, because I mean, there was the pressure that we talked about last week on our episode. Make sure you check out that. What if, right? There's all these what if scenarios with Cooper Flag, but if we can get Cooper Flag and we can keep Laurie, and that's actually our next segment. But
yeah,
if we can make some of this happen and we can get this team turned around, I do believe we're in such a good position to be successful right now and start turning this team around. So that feels like it's an even heavier burden, because it's like, it's so far out of our hands. You know what I mean? Like a 14% chance is just not enough for what we just watched as Jazz fans.
Oh, for sure. That's for sure. Now let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk about that, because I definitely want to get into that. Before we get into that, I want to sorry, got distracted by the comments there. We got another one that's the one we got from Joshua. So I just got a little confused there. So the next subject I want to talk about is, let's say the stars align and we land Cooper Flag and he decides not to opt out to go back to Duke. What then? Do we keep Kessler and Markkanen, or do we completely rebuild around Cooper Flag?
So my opinion is you absolutely keep everything you got. We have some budding young talent. Cooper Flag is an excellent defensive player. Now I want you to picture this starting 5 on the floor for the Utah Jazz.
Starting next year?
Yep. Starting next year, we get Cooper Flag, right? So all the stars align. Everything's good. We got Isaiah Collier at 1, Cooper Flag at 2, Cooper Flag at 2, Taylor Hendricks at 3, Lauri Markkanen at 4, or however you want to switch that, right? And then Walker Kessler at 5. That defensively is one of the best lineups in the NBA.
Oh yeah.
Defensively, that is a fantastic lineup, because Isaiah Collier is a very serviceable defender. Cooper Flag is a great defender. Taylor Hendricks is, I mean, we've seen the flashes of his great defensive play. Lauri Markkanen is just too long. Like, you're not just shooting the ball over him because he's 7 feet tall.
And he's like our main option on offense. So, he's not exactly running,
But having 4 players on the floor that are all great defensive options, you just move him to whoever's the least defensive threat.
Yeah.
So unless you've got 5 shooters on the floor, Lauri's good. And then you've got Walker Kessler, who's obviously Mr. Cleanup Man. He's going to, bring in all the rebounds. He's going to just continue to be a defensive force. Defensively, that starting 5 is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then you've still got some great weapons coming off the bench. I mean, that's assuming that Colin Sexton's not on the floor and he's coming off the bench for one of these guys. That still leaves Keontae George on the bench, Bryce Sensabaugh on the bench. I mean, even a Johnny Juzang, who became a very serviceable 3-point shooter at the end of the year. All of a sudden, it looks like we got some depth. And if this team's trying to all of a sudden we're not trying to lose ball games, I mean, just the things that this brings, the options, it completely changes the way you see the Jazz. And I would be very curious to see just how that impacts this team confidence wise, especially to have starting lineups and know, hey, you're not playing 28 tonight. You're playing 35.
Yeah. Imagine, I was just thinking about this. Imagine a pick and roll between Walker Kessler and Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Kessler will be the pick, right? And then he can either dive or Cooper, and then the defense is going to clap around Cooper because he's going to have the ball. Like they're going to have, and then Laurie can easily just step out and take a wide open three at the top of the key. And it could go both ways. Like he can like take the screen, and then Laurie can dive to the basket, and then Cooper can take a step back and shoot over whoever's guarding the pick and roll.
Yeah. And the thing is you can't go under that screen, or you can't go over that screen, or under the screen. Sorry. You can't go under that because Cooper can shoot it. Like all of a sudden you have so many options, and these guys are big, they're long, they're defensive.
I don't think the Jazz has ever had that lengthy of a team.
No. I mean, I
can't remember ever.
When the shortest player on the court is Isaiah Collier at 6'3", you're in good shape.
Yeah. Well, you know my position on the short guards on this team. But yeah, no, I agree with you 100%, man. But the problem that I'm running into is that it was mentioned on the radio on ESPN 700 when they did an interview with a team that covers the team for KSL. Forget his name now, but if I can remember it, I'll link it down below. This team has been trying to trade away JC, John Collins, and Colin Sexton for like the last 3 trade deadlines. They just simply can't move these guys.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been like the same thing that he mentioned that the Jazz potentially could even start listening to offers on Larry Markkinen as well. I don't see that happening now because he's got that big a contract, and I believe that the Jazz, he's got more value to Utah than he does anywhere else. So I don't see that happening, but he is eligible for trading now. So
now the big thing is, and this is just my opinion, if the Jazz don't move Cooper Flagg, now do you move Laurie? If they don't get Cooper Flagg, is the chances of moving Laurie just exponentially higher because his trade value, Laurie's 27 years old. He's hitting the peak years of his career. Do you risk losing the trade value for Laurie in his prime years, knowing you could potentially be in a rebuild for another 1 to 2 years?
Yeah, I think you kind of have to.
You almost have to move away from him, right? Walker Kessler's way younger.
Yeah, Kessler's fine. He's probably going to be easier to trade though because he's still on his rookie scale contract. So the cost, the player versus the value there in an analytics NBA is definitely going to be easier to move Kessler than it is going to be Larry Markkinen. But I would have to agree with you. Larry Markkinen on a team that's not trying to lose, where some of the offense goes through him. He's a 20-point night scorer, 6 rebounds, 5 assists type player.
I just don't know if Laurie wants to go through another one of these seasons.
Yeah. I don't think the Jazz can get away with trying to do what they did this year. We already got fined once for it.
And the thing is like all these injuries that they had this year, we know how that got us. And hopefully that would entail really healthy players moving into next season. We're going to have Taylor Hendricks back. This is going to be an elite team on defense, especially if we get the Cooper Flagg ad, right? But if we don't get Cooper, I think you would see Laurie's name pop up in almost every single trade possible, because the Jazz, I think, will have to move him in hopes of, okay, well, let's tank again and see if we can get AJ Dabansa, right? Like we got to do something. We've got to get a player in here, but that slows down the rebuild a ton, because now you don't just need one player. Now you need 2, possibly 3.
Right.
Because Laurie is the production of 1 to 2 players. Like that's who he is. And I'm saying gravity weight, right? Like you can't just single guard Larry Markkinen because he can, if you stay off of him, he's going to shoot it over you. Nobody can play him one-on-one because he's 7 feet tall. So everything lands on us getting Cooper Flagg.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate, man. And if we land one of these other players, I don't know if they are going to be bad enough. They're not going to be good enough to compete in the West. Just not. But they're also not going to be bad enough to where, you're going to get away with this for another year. So yeah. I agree with you, man. Yeah, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below when it comes to the Utah Jazz and how important this offseason is going to be for this team. Also, let us know, what your hopes are and the odds of us landing Cooper Flag. And let's say we do you build around him? Do you blow it up and build around him? Or do you stick with what we have, much to AJ's lineup build there? It's pretty slick. I like it. We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments down below. We do have a comment here from Joshua Brandt. Let's see here. He's got a comment that says that has a strong defense for sure. And again, all the offense is going to be running through two players. You got Cooper Flag and you got Larry Markkinen are going to be running most of the offense. I mean, we do have, Walker Kessler, who's able to hit the corner three now, which was interesting to see. That was a development.
Kind of crazy. and he'll also have another offseason with NBA coaching, and he's going to keep working on that. And if Walker can make that shot, even if he shoots 35% from that shot where he's even remotely a threat out there, watch out.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. And Isaiah Collier is gonna have a whole nother year of development. Honestly, he's by far been, between him and Flip, have been the best shining stars for this team this year.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting. I definitely want to see, everything does gonna hang on May 12th, and I'm gonna be sweating it out that week for sure. And I just hope that, the stars align for this team, because, man, it was painful to watch this team this year for sure.
Yep.
Once again, folks, we did just start a channel specifically for your Utah Jazz content. It's called Utah Jazz DNA. It's a channel developed specifically for your Utah Jazz. All of our content will be posted here first. If you were watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap, our channel to Utah Jazz DNA will be linked in the comments down below.
Boom. Make sure you find it, subscribe, hit that like button. We appreciate all the engagement.
Yeah, I just realized it's not centered, man. Look at that. We're not centering the shot this week.
What losers.
Yeah, we got to work on that. All right, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about Major League Baseball.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into a little bit about Major League Baseball. So the first thing I want to talk about is more of a local story. So everybody watching us for Major League Baseball across the organization, we'll get to you in a minute there. We have a lot to talk about. We definitely want to jump into some of the stories there. But primarily what I want to do is talk about a little bit of the rumblings, man. We've been hearing a little bit about potential MLB expansion and it being basically, and it's just a rumor. We've only heard a few rumblings about it, seen a few things on Twitter. But it seems like those rumblings are indicating that MLB expansion is coming and Utah is going to get one of those teams.
Absolutely, which is crazy exciting. I mean, just as a reminder, obviously we got the Utah legislature that passed that bill, kind of earmarking $900 million in rental car tax revenue to fund a potential MLB stadium in Salt Lake City. That stadium will be built in the Power District. And the proposed site is right in the Power District on a 100-acre lot. So all of these things have kind of been in place, and it was like, yeah, no, we're up for an expansion team, right? We're ready. And the initial reports were that this team we could be getting a team as soon as 2032. I think the money's good till 2035 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I mean, some of these local rumblings that we're kind of hearing are that MLB expansion is pretty much confirmed to Utah. And if this is the case, what are your thoughts, dude? I mean, how does this affect Utah sports? I mean, obviously this team's funded by the Millers. What?
Let's start there. Let's start there. The team being funded by the Millers. Now, this is a organization that has a beautiful track record of their ownership of the Utah Jazz, for over 3 decades. This was probably 4 decades, actually, if I can count my decades right. But this is an ownership group that with great stewardships of the team, and I do believe they're going to be great stewardships of any new team that they're a part of. I got no preconceived holdings against that. The problem is that this will be the first time the Millers are involved with owning a major sports franchise while still owning a major league sports franchise.
Correct.
This team just bought the Millers just bought and had controlling purchase of Real Salt Lake. So they're the majority owners now. They're not going to be handling the day-to-day for the Real Salt Lake. The minor ownership group is still going to be in place for that, and they're going to be handling most of the other part as far as the controlling ownership of it. But you're now splitting your focus. So if this does go through and it does get announced that we're getting a team and the Millers are going to be running it, I have never seen them own 2 teams before and been able to focus on one. or the other and give any kind of thing. So that's kind of my first concern.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we're seeing Ryan Smith kind of bobble his way through owning 2 professional sports teams with Utah Hockey Club and the Jazz.
He's the minority owner that sold the Real Salt Lake. Like he backed out of it.
And he owned Real Salt Lake already.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that they like these 2 ownership groups are just like exchanging hands. Like, well, here, you take the Jazz and we'll take some of Real Salt Lake back. And, oh, you got Utah Hockey Club now. So give us some of that. But so there's some concerns that way, right? Like, and depending on how this team ends up getting here, right? Whether it is expansion or they do move another team, the thing is MLB expansion hasn't been approved yet, right? Rob Manfred said nothing about MLB expansion.
Right. He mentioned probably in the offseason or 2 ago, once Oakland's figured out their situation and once Tampa's figured out their situation, then he would be considering doing it. It's something he wants to do before he steps down.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing he's mentioned on it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't step down until 2029.
Right. So we still got a few years. I mean, that's 4 years that it's kind of that almost that deadline, right? And then, I mean, we could get a stadium built in a year or 2, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've got obviously ballparks all over Salt Lake that we can just throw a team in if we need to. And
I bet you MLB will be super excited about that. And that's kind of the next point I want to bring up. My next issue that I have with it is we already have 2 Major League Baseball teams that are playing for at least 1 year, probably more, that are playing in minor league ballparks.
Yeah. And not even selling out those ballparks, Darren.
No, it's really kind of sad. The A's are the A's, and that's going to be what it is. I mean, their prices are just ridiculously expensive for that franchise and for that location. So I'm not surprised there. They're not good enough. They're a better team this year than they were last year. But as far as like not being able to sell out a minor league ballpark is kind of pathetic. And then you also have the Rays who are not selling out in Steinbrenner Field either. So, and that's only a 1-year deal, man. They got to get the trop fixed. They got to get the roof back on. That's going to cost $50 million now to do. And that's just the roof, AJ.
Yeah.
They still got to get all the water out of there and rebuild the rest of the state. They got like temporary doors for the blockage to get stuff in because that place was not designed to not have a roof.
Right.
So it's just every time it rains, the problem starts all over again. So this is just got out of
hurricane season.
Yeah. And it's just a mess down there. So until these 2 teams are on solid footing, I don't see them expanding at all. Like, I just don't see them making that move, maybe announcing it and like saying, hey, 3 years from now, we're going to expand to these 2 cities. Maybe something like that's coming. But man, just the way it looks right now from Major League Baseball's perspective, I just don't see it.
Right. Yeah, no, it's very interesting. And, some of these local rumblings that, we're already getting some key players involved in what this team could be is really fun to hear. And I think that, having, big league Utah, kind of for, pushing this thing and all the state support, it's just kind of like, why would this all be pushed forward? Why would there even be rumblings about this if it's not happening though? Right. Like where there's smoke, there's fire.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, there might be some interest, something that's gaining traction will be very interesting to hear of here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. My last thing on this is that we haven't heard anything like that from any reputable sources.
Yeah.
We haven't heard anything from a Jeff Passan, right? Yeah. Buster Olney, nobody from Major League Baseball, like the baseball insiders, have even mentioned anything like this. This is local rumblings from local people that are saying that it's a done deal. It's happening.
Yeah.
Which is why which is great. I respect that they have that insight. And I love that they're bringing it to us because it's important because we want to get it out there. But it's kind of like there's not a whole lot outside. There's no smoke outside of Utah at all.
Right. And
if MLB is approving this, there would be some rumblings in MLB, and there's not. This is a team this is an organization that just lost a $500 million partner in ESPN. They're going to have to go with a new partner. They're already trying to organize local and regional sport networks affiliations. This is all, unless MLB already has a contract ready to go, ready to sign with Amazon or Apple or whoever, it's going to make them more money than what ESPN was paying them, which I highly doubt. That doesn't seem like that's likely. This would be a really, really bad time to expand the league with 2 more teams obviously Nashville and Utah both getting a team. It's not exactly the best time financially to be expanding your league. This is kind of where I'm like, okay, if it is a done deal, and there's a lot of people locally saying that it is a done deal, it's just a matter of time for the Millers to announce it. We haven't heard any rumblings from MLB, from any of the MLB insiders on this whatsoever. The front office, there's nothing about it. We haven't heard.
You think it's a possibility there's just that tight of a lid on it?
Yes, but I don't know. I doubt it. I honestly doubt it. There'd be something. Because the last time the MLB expanded, there were talks about it. Like when they expanded, not necessarily expanded, but when they moved the Montreal Expos to Washington to become the Nationals, Team Walgreens out there. When they made that move, like that was almost a done deal. Everybody knew about it a year before it happened.
Yeah.
And when they added the Rockies and the Rays, that was kind of already a known thing for at least a year before they even made the announcement, right? So baseball typically hasn't been something that's been hush-hush. And if it is something that's going to be announced, it's going to be announced by Major League Baseball before it's going to be announced by the Miller Group. In my opinion, that's how that's going to go down. So, and obviously just the financial uncertainty of this league going forward with TV distribution rights and stuff like that, unless there's something that they have that's unlocked that's going to shock the world, I just don't see them expanding anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I love it. I mean, realistically, I love it. For Utah to get an MLB team would be one of the most exciting things because it gives us one more thing to cover. Obviously,
another channel,
another sub channel. You'll be watching Utah baseball DNA here soon enough. But I mean, it's exciting. It's an exciting time for, just a state to even just hear some of this news. And Major League Baseball is coming to Utah changes the whole game, right? Now we're a 3-sport city.
Well, 4 technically if you count Real.
Oh yeah, 4-sport city. So I don't know. It's exciting. I guess I'm excited for it either way. I hope that something does come out, and I hope it just surprises the shit out of everybody.
I hope so too, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm rooting for it to happen. I just don't know why this is coming out now because there's just so much uncertainty around Major League Baseball going forward.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. This is something that they announce now.
I got you.
Yeah, that's my only concern. I'd love to have it happen. I'd love for it to be true. And maybe I'm wrong on this one, but my understanding of the league, it's odd for it to be now.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit more about Major League Baseball. Now, first, what I want to do is talk about the NL West, man. At the end of the week last week, there were 3 teams that were at 10+ wins for the season. And obviously, there's now more teams in double-digit wins since then. But, the nature of the show is, we talk once a week. So, some of this stuff is going to get old before we get a chance to get around to it. But yeah, so there were 3 teams that all had 10 wins. Now, what stood out to me on that, AJ, is where all these 3 teams with 10+ wins were all in one division. Do you know what division that was?
The National League West.
Yes, and these teams were
the San Diego Padres, the San Francisco Giants, and the LA Dodgers.
Yeah, dude, this division is going to be a powerhouse, man. Like, it's
kind of funny because the Giants almost came out of nowhere out of here, right? Like, it's not like they were predicted to be at the bottom of the division, but to think that at this point in the season they're going to be 12-5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's start with the Giants, man. They're sitting at 12-5. They're 6-4 out of their last 10. They're 3rd in MLB in runs scored with 100. By the way, number 1 is the Cubs. By the way, leading the league. They're also leading the league in doubles, and they are 7th in team ERA at 3.47. So, man, the team's just doing it, man. They made some acquisitions. They obviously got Willie Adames. They signed Chapman to that extension.
Yeah.
They also got Verlander, who hasn't been pitching well, but that's, they're still putting effort in that.
Yeah.
They got that player from Korea. What's his name? Oh gosh. Anyway, he's hitting the cover off the ball. He's performing better, batting over 300. Can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But his nickname is the Grandson of the Wind.
That's the coolest nickname I've ever heard.
Yeah. Because his grandfather, who also played in Korea, was named the Wind. So he's
Grandson of the Wind.
Grandson of the Wind.
So how much of this the Giants hot start do you think has to do with obviously the new front office leadership and Buster Posey, the new president of baseball operations?
Yeah, man. Buster Posey, man, Honestly, dude, like he was one of my, and even though he's played for the Giants, I'm a Dodgers fan, supposed to hate everybody over there. I love Buster Posey, man. One of the greatest to ever do it. He got an MVP. He's, got Rookie of the Year, and he like played his whole career with that team.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's in there controlling the front office, he was involved in getting Matt Chapman there. He's, making all these moves, and that's not necessarily anything wrong that Farhan Saidi did. But what I'm liking what Buster Posey's doing is he's like, we want ball players here.
Yeah.
We want players here that are baseball players first. We're not necessarily trying to win the press conference. We're building a team that's going to put together, that's going to gel together, that's going to get some wins.
Yeah. And this is a Giants team that's kind of struggled historically to build a strong farm system. And Posey's come in and done a really good job. He kind of avoided trading prospects this winter. He really focused on like long-term improvement, right? And for a team that's been historically known as having a weak system, they're actually making progress now and getting prospects in and, starting to work on really developing players. They made some trades and acquisitions in the offseason to get them better now, but it's kind of even more scary to know what they can do in the future now that he's kind of making some huge push to their prospect pools.
That's nice. No, I didn't know that they were doing improvements down below. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. The next team I want to talk about is the hottest team in baseball, which is the Padres. They have not lost at home. They have a 1.5 game lead in their division. They are currently 15-4. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Fernando Tatis Jr. is playing like an MVP. His batting average is 348.
Dude's been playing out of his freaking mind, dude.
Yep. His OPS is 1048, which is insane. With 6 home runs and 14 RBI. Dude, he's playing amazing, man. Absolutely amazing.
I mean, it also obviously helps when you have an opening day rotation of Michael King, Dylan Cease, Randy Vasquez, Nick Pivetta, Kyle Hart. And obviously Kyle Hart kind of had limited MLB, but he's kind of come out and just really thrown really well for the Padres this year. And it's just, these guys really just kind of put it together and, kind of exceeded all expectations for what the beginning of the season was supposed to be. And they've just done a really good job playing great team baseball. Their pitching's been fantastic. Their offense is electric. This Padres team is scary, man.
Oh yeah. They're second in all of baseball in ERA at a 2.56 ERA at the time of recording anyway. Man, easily the best team in baseball, man. And that's coming from a Dodgers fan, it's insane that this team is that good. And, right now the Dodgers are sitting in third place right now, man. Third place in this
at
division.
13-6.
Yes. Remember, this is a team that started off 8-0.
Yeah.
Imagine where the Dodgers would be right now if they didn't start off 8-0, man.
Yeah.
It's a little scary.
Well, they got a few easy ones playing the Braves, tried to start out.
Well, no one knew those would be easy games, though.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Not that early in the season.
But it actually kind of helps because the Braves did start. I mean, they had 3 against the Dodgers and then 3 against the Padres.
Yeah, that's
a rough start to the season, man. And then some of the best teams in the league so far.
Yeah, didn't you guys go play the Phillies right after that?
And then the Phillies right after. I mean, we had a little series against the Marlins, and we got a couple there, but the Braves are on a rough run right now.
Yeah. Well, the Dodgers again 8-0. They've lost 3 out of their last 4 series since then. Still just 2 games back of the San Diego Padres. The Dodgers are second in baseball in home runs. And no, we don't really necessarily need to dive too much into the Dodgers because we cover them enough on this channel anyway to really kind of cover what they've done. But yeah, the fact that this division is so stacked that the Dodgers, the World Series favorites coming into the season, is in third place in their own division, man. This is stacked division.
And also, and I know that you can't say this, but I can. I don't think anybody that's a fan of Major League Baseball is worried about how the Dodgers are going to finish this year out. You know what I mean? Like we're still talking about one of the most stacked teams in all of baseball. Have they lost a few? Okay. There's nobody concerned about. Nobody's feeling bad for the Dodgers right now, Darren. I can guarantee you that.
You're probably right. You're probably right on that one. Clayton Kershaw had a rehab assignment.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Struck out 2 with his slider, which is nice to see. His fastball is only at around 87 miles an hour right now, so you're going to want to see that go up a little bit. But
I mean, otherwise he's just throwing batting practice because you're not going to throw an 87-mile-an-hour fastball to anybody.
No. Well, if you're thinking slider or that Cooperstown curveball, then it might look a little faster. But yeah, you're right. You're not throwing that. If anybody's like cheating on the fastball, yeah, that's batting practice.
That's a home run.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, man, I'm just super excited about it. The Dodgers do look good. It's we knew this was going to happen. I mean, we knew that there were going to be injuries to the starting lineup,
and you weren't going to go 162-0. right?
No.
Like that's not how it's going to happen.
Yeah. By the way, thanks, Rich, for texting me that and saying, "Oh, I think this team's going 162-0." As soon as he texted that, Dodgers lost their first series. Just like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Is the NL West the toughest division in baseball right now? It's pretty hard to argue with that right now with how well those teams are doing. And dude, the Diamondbacks, they even went and got Corbin Burns. They have a stacked rotation of Burns, Zach Eflin, and that Fott kid. So they're stacked, but they're just not even. They got no chance, man. Everybody else above them is just killing it.
Yeah.
And obviously the Rockies are there. They're breathing, but you know.
It's funny we actually got a comment about the Rockies.
Oh, nice. Let's go ahead and hit that up real quick here. So how about those Rockies? I think their ownership is hoping for 500 baseball. They said at the beginning of the year last year.
Yeah.
That's a pipe dream as it sits right now.
Currently 3-14.
Yeah, not doing well.
And they're actually also currently losing to the Dodgers 6-7 right now.
Dude, why aren't the Dodgers just sorry, Joshua, I don't want to make you feel bad about this one, but why the hell are they not whooping on these guys?
They gave up 5 in the third. The Dodgers did.
Jeez, I know who's pitching. It's Bobby Miller, right? Bobby Miller.
I don't have the box score in front of me.
That's the guy that got hit right in the head. So in the spring training game. So
you can't be mad at him.
Can't be mad at him.
You know,
I think it's so funny. We have Landon Knack, and we've brought up 3 pitchers in the minors to do spot starts already. We're already doing that. We're already doing that, AJ. It's just
Darren. We knew it was coming though, buddy. I mean, preseason.
The Dodgers every year, bro.
It's the Dodgers. It's just the Dodgers. That's okay.
Every year we're throwing bullpen games in the World Series, man. I don't know what we're doing, but anyway, it is what it is. We love to hear from you folks. Let us know what you think in the comments down below about the NL West. Sorry, Joshua, that the Cubs are not part of that. They're part of the NL West, but they're barely a major league team.
You meant the Rockies. You said Cubs, but
oh, sorry. Yeah, I meant the Rockies, not the Cubs. The Cubs, I believe, are winning that.
He said our team by default. It's true. He lives in the Denver area, so he's got a cheer for him.
Yeah, I love that stadium, man. They actually are in the top 15 in attendance every year. Did you know that?
The Rockies are?
Yeah.
I believe it. Those Denver fans show out, man. I mean, look at even the
stadium's
Broncos.
Gorgeous, dude. And it's like the 4th oldest stadium in baseball right now.
And it's just beautiful.
It's just a gorgeous stadium. Absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, team by default, man. Absolutely. That's absolutely true, man. Let me throw that up there so you see it. Yeah, absolutely true, man. It's a even my grandma, who is a diehard Dodgers fan, bought a whole bunch of Rockies gear and was watching the Rockies just simply because they're the closest team to us. So we're going to follow them too.
Yep.
Even though they're the same division as the Dodgers. So we were cheering for them when they weren't playing the Dodgers. All right, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk about Garrett Crochet. Now, this was an interesting story last week. Now, I always talk about how poetic baseball is.
Absolutely.
This is something that I'd like to talk about from time to time. And we got to hit this story. We got to hit this one up real quick. Go Broncos. That's right. You gotta love it. But yeah, so there's something I want to hit up real quick is that baseball has always been, to me, the most poetic sport out there. There are things that happen in baseball that you're like, oh my gosh, that's just so perfect. Garrett Crochet was pitching for the Boston Red Sox and came close to a no-hitter against his former team, the Chicago White Sox, on Sunday. Did you see this?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, he took a perfect game into the 6th.
Yes.
And a no-hitter into the 8th. In doing this, he struck out 11 and only allowed 1 run through 7 1/3. So, and then after they got the hit, they pulled him out. But
yeah, that walk came back to score, came around to score. So it was technically his earned run, but he's not the one who gave up the run.
Right.
Yeah. But man, this is why baseball is so poetic, man. His no-hit bid ended in the 8th inning when Chase Meadroth came up. Now, do you know why this is so poetic?
Because he was part of the trade from the White Sox
to get Garrett Crochet to the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. He singled off an 89-mile-an-hour cutter, which broke up his no-hitter. Boston signed Garrett Crochet to a 6-year, $170 million contract extension. The Red Sox ultimately won the game 3-1, avoiding a series sweep. Trevor Story was one who provided the crucial offense on that with a 2-run double and a solo home run. The part that I love about that is that, my gosh, to avoid the sweep, the White Sox were going to sweep you.
That's where you're at this season.
That is not a good sign for Boston, man. The Red Sox are playing way below their weight, man. They signed a bunch of talent this offseason.
Spent a ton of money.
Yeah, and they're not playing well, man. They're not playing well. If you're about to get swept by the White Sox, that's a problem.
That's brutal.
They've set the record for the most. I mean, they were the Jazz of the MLB last year.
They were, yeah. I mean, that was.
I mean, they set the record for the most losses in Major League Baseball history, so not as bad as the Jazz, but it felt the same for us Jazz.
It felt the same, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. That's just freaking amazing. Like the fact that you had a no hitter and the person to break it up was a prospect that they traded for you. It's just that only happens in baseball, man.
Absolutely,
I love it.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to say before we get out of here. This is one I want to call Captain, my captain. Did you hear that Team USA has a new captain?
No.
So we've got a Captain America. So one of the things we covered at the very beginning of this channel, when we first started this channel, was the WBC.
Absolutely.
Aaron Judge is the captain for Team USA going in the 2016 WBC.
2016?
2016 WBC.
So 10 years ago?
Sorry, 2026.
Okay, that
Don't be a dick.
I was like, I was trying to process that. I'm like, okay, so like, did they name him like a previous captain?
Hey, 20 years ago was 1980. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah. It totally feels that way.
It wasn't the year 2000. Yeah, Aaron Judge, man, team captain for the WBC for Team USA. I can't even begin to tell you how important this is. Now, as a Dodgers fan, obviously, I'm not a Yankees fan. I think Aaron Judge is a fantastic player, probably one of the greatest hitters in baseball history. The only player to have a better offensive season last year than Shohei Ohtani was Aaron Judge.
Absolutely.
And now he's going to be the captain of Team USA, man. I think this just speaks volumes to the fact that this is now a tournament that MLB players or players that are U.S. born in MLB are going to be taking it more seriously.
That's really refreshing, right? Because that last WBC loss to Japan, I mean, obviously that was also some beautiful poetic. Yeah, I mean, yes. The way that game ended was just legendary for Shohei to strike out Mike Trout and them being teammates, and it was a beautiful thing. But it would be really good to see Team USA take this game really seriously because every other country does.
Yeah.
It's like we're the only one that doesn't go to this tournament and field a team full of good baseball players and be like, let's go win this thing. Yeah. We're just there like, yeah, let's go get some practice.
I mean, when we're throwing Lance Lynn out there, that's just not a good sign.
Exactly.
When he's one of your starters, and like Mookie Betts was on last year's team, and there was Mike Trout was the captain of last year's team, and there's always rumblings that the team would not allow you to have their players pitch more than like 100 pitches an outing, and then when it comes to the bullpen arms, no setups, get up, sit downs, basically meaning if you warmed up, you had to be pitching. They would not let you sit back down and then warm up again and be used later in the game.
Yeah.
You only got one warm up. So there's a bunch of restrictions that was happening. And I get that there's a greater chance of getting hurt, but you're also going to get hurt in spring training too.
The exact same way too.
Yeah. This is not a big deal. Yeah. Edwin Diaz got hurt, but he got hurt celebrating on the mound, and his team still made it to the National League Championship Series. So it's not like it really hurts the Mets chance of winning the pennant because let's face it, you didn't have a shot. You were playing the Dodgers. You just didn't have a shot. So nothing. How you're just going to let that one go?
I'm just going to let it go.
Okay. But anyway, I just absolutely love it. Love to see it. And look forward to hearing where the rest of Team USA shakes out to be now that we have our captain.
It's excellent, man. I really hope they put together a squad, and this WBC tournament could be really, really fun to watch.
Absolutely. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Let us know what you think in regards to anything we talked about when it comes to Major League Baseball, expansion into the of Major League Baseball into Utah, where it was the NL West powerhouse, and what you think of how that division is going to shake out. I honestly think that 2 of the 3 wildcard teams are coming out of that division easily.
Yeah.
And then obviously, what do you think about Garrett Crochet's no-hitter for a potential no-hitter against his old team, and what you think about the WBC going forward? We'd love to hear from you. As a reminder, folks, this channel did just hit 1,000 subscribers. We're around 1,300 right now.
Yeah.
So if you've not yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We'll be giving away the first $500 that we earn in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. 5 subscribers are each going to earn $100 each. So if you have not yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash that like button for your boy AJ right over there.
Boom, do it. And if you're watching on YouTube on one of our short videos, just know this is available, the whole episode in its entirety, as a podcast right here on YouTube.
With all that said, my name is Darren, that is AJ, and this has been an episode of the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.